This is practice exercise 4. I will do this particular exercise in Python. You're welcome to set this up in any language you would like. Our goal is to set up the test so that you can then write the code and make this, basically get this exercise to work. What we're doing in this one is a sum of digits. So given some positive number n, so some number n that's greater than 0, and in this case, it's probably a whole number. What we're going to do is find the sum of all those digits. So for example, if we start with the number 687, we expect it to be 21. 6 plus 8 is 14 plus 7 is 21. So we're summing the digits together. So we're treating it as 6 plus 8 plus 7. Similarly, 12 would be treated as 1 plus 2, so the output is 3. So that's the idea here. In Python, we will need to create a folder and then set up our test. So let's go ahead and do that. Find the folder where you want to create it. I'm going to put mine in C code delete me. I'll create a new folder. And let's call this sum of digits. And now I'm going to copy the MD file, go ahead and drop it in here so it's available to me. And then I will right click on the sum of digits and I will open with code. Let's close the other one. I'll zoom in a little so we can see it. Let's open the MD back. All right, so we have our project here. From here, you can go ahead and get started straight away. So we can create a test folder. And then we can create our test file. So let's say you could either start with test underscore or you could end with test underscore. I prefer to end with test underscore. I think it's easier to read that way. I don't have a bunch of test files that everything's alphabetically with just test underscore. The test would be at the end because it's kind of implicit system in the test folder. So let's just call this digit summation test.py. From here, I'll have to decide if I want to use pytest or if I want to use unit test. If I use unit test, I don't need to install anything. I can go and get started straight away. If I use pytest, I will have to install something. I'm going to go ahead and install something. So you can skip this if you want to use unit test. You'll just need to create a unit test class instead of doing the function. But I'll go ahead and set this up. So I'm going to start with pipenv. That's going to be my tool. You can use any environment any virtual environment tool you'd like. Pyenv if you want to do that. There's several tools out there. Whatever tool you'd like is totally fine. I'll do pipenv shell and then pipenv install. This will create my virtual environment, and then pipenv install --dev, and this will be pytest. While that's doing it, let's go ahead and create our function. So this will be def digit summation. Let's just call this sum of digits to match the problem, and we'll say example 1. We're just going to pull these straight in from what we've got here. So we'll say n is 687, and the expected output, expected, equals 21. So we're just going to copy and paste those straight in. Now that we've got that, we need to actually do the work. So here you could do just a top-level function, or we could create a class. To make it consistent with the other languages, I'm going to create a class. You don't have to do this. You could do this as a static method on a class. You could do this as a global method. Totally up to you on how you want to do this. So let's go ahead and create, let's see, so we're summing digits. We're taking a number and summing the digits. Let's call it number calculator. Sure, it seems reasonable. So we'll say calculator, so the variable equals new number calculator. Remember, Python doesn't use new. And now that we've got that, we're going to say the sum equals calculator dot sum digits. And we're going to give it in. Sum S-U-M, not sum S-O-M-E. So there's that, and now we'll finally say assert. We'll say that expected equals sum. So there's our first test. That looks pretty straightforward. Now we need to create the number calculator, but I think I like what I've got here. So I'm going to Control A to collect everything, Control K-F, that'll format everything, and then Control Shift P to pull up the menu up at the top. I want to convert indentation to tabs. You can use the arrow keys to find that. You don't have to use the mouse. When you find the one you want, just hit enter. You can use the mouse as well. I like tabs. Tabs are good. So there's example 1. Let's go and copy and paste this. We'll do example 2. Example 2, we're going to use 12, and the output is 3. So there's our 2 tests. We've got that all set up. Now we do need to at least create this class so that we can start doing some functionality with it. So I'm going to create a new folder. I could call this main. I could call it app. I could call it source. There's all sorts of different things we could call it. I'm just going to call it source for now. And then inside source, we'll create our file, and this will be the sum of digits, the digit summation, or our calculator, or number calculation, numbercalculations.py. Seems like a good name. All of those different terms I threw out, those are all totally fine. We just need to call it something that's going to collect one or more classes. In number calculations, there's going to be a number calculator class. So go and create that. And now this number calculator class is going to have a sum digits function. So let's go and define that, self, and this is going to take n. Now I could call it something else, but I'll just say n, and then we're going to say it's an integer, and this returns an integer. I'm going to pass for now. Now that we've got all that, I need to do an import. So we will, from source.number calculations, we want to import number calculator. All right, I think that looks pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and run the tests. I'm going to configure them here, configure Python test. We're using pytest, or I am. It's in the test folder. All right, so that's up and running. Oh, I do need to start with test underscore for these to be picked up. There we go. And then we will run our tests. They both fail as expected. They're failing because we're passing. We're not doing anything. So let's go ahead and take a look at the code. So here is the test code. Make sure you have all this ready to go. Pause the video if you need to. Make sure you've got this code. Once that's up and running, here's your number calculations. Your job now is, instead of pass, you need to implement this code. Good luck.